Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the King Leo Show. Let's make sure our studio doors closed. Let's hope that holds. How's everyone doing tonight? How you doing, audio vibes? Let me check the audio, make sure we're good here. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the King Leo Show. Let's make sure I think that we are all good. Let's hope that holds. How's everyone doing tonight? Hang on. There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Happy Friday Eve, audio vibes. How you doing tonight? Hello, everyone. Before we begin, like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, I had to do... Whew, I just finished jogging. I was just jogging, man. I'm on this cut. I know I've been on it for a while, but it's getting a little annoying at this point. You know, it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, the bulk was not worth it. I'm not going to bulk again. I didn't even have time to put on my What Would Piers Morgan Do bracelet. Highly recommend you pick one up. We're down to 98. We had 100, and Audio Vibes came in and bought 2. Audio Vibes, pretty interesting because they actually live... no, I can't say where they live, actually. I can't do that. All right, everyone. Let me get this bracelet on. Let me make sure the studio doors are actually closed. Give me 1 sec here. All right, we're good now. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Happy Friday evening. Like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing takes half a second, but most importantly, guys, if you want to pick up one of these What Would Piers Morgan Do parody bracelets, do not sue me. PayPal me $10 for one, 15 for two. I set up a post on YouTube so you can check it out, how we're actually doing the distribution. I'm trying to do it so that you guys don't get ripped off and I don't get ripped off with fees. So pick up one of these. This is the only reason I'm successful, because I'm wearing one of 100 or one of 98 now, because Audio Vibes took 2 of the bracelets. So with that, everybody, we have to get to the show. Let's do this here. 1 second here, actually. Okay, we're back. Sorry, man. It's just that door is killing me. All right, everybody, let's get into the show. We have a lot to get to. Let's start with our usual Schizo Watch. I have to introduce, after we introduce the clip here. All right, we're going to start Schizo Watch, but we're going to get a lot of mileage out of this new clip, all right?
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Because we're looking at Tucker Carlson tonight, and Tucker Carlson is talking crazy shit on Ben Shapiro. So let's start with Schizo Watch. Let's start with something that everyone is going to be a victim of. I've already signed up. Apple has confirmed that we now have digital ID as an option. Apple launches digital ID in the U.S., letting users add IDs like a passport to Apple Wallet and use them at TSA checkpoints in 250 plus airports for domestic travel. It's going to look like this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And as any good Baudrillardian, man, all I'm going to say is I'm signing up immediately. I am signing up. I'm not fighting the simulacrum. This will make life more convenient. I know that a lot of libertarians don't like to hear that, privacy concerns and all that. Man, screw all that noise, man. We get to live in a convenient society now. This is awesome. Now Apple has access to our information. I mean, dude, you'll always forget your wallet, but will you ever forget your phone? That's what you should be asking yourself. I'm signing up right after the show. Let's continue. Let's not do this, dude. We have to. All right, here we go. Let's start with something fun, a little lighthearted after that. The American chauvinism is off the charts, man. I've seen it a lot lately, and it's just ridiculous. Like, Europeans, I like Europe. I like how they live. Let's see what Americans are proud of. Let's see what makes us Americans on display here. Let's see what we have to be proud of in this era, the century of the American humiliation. this is obviously conservative coded. And we know how I feel about conservatives at this point. King Leo is not a fan of conservatives. Yesterday we went after their precious landman, releasing that clip soon. I know they're going to get mad about that. Conservatives, the only thing that they think what makes America is disgusting petroleum producing plants where you can buy food that has been cooked in petroleum infested water, just destroying and cooking your insides. And the European mind cannot comprehend an American gas station. I've been to a lot of American gas stations. I've been to a lot. I can comprehend the 7-Eleven experience, dude. The 7-Eleven experience is you walk in, on the way in, you are harassed by a man for some change. And, you if you're feeling generous, you'll give him a cigarette. You'll give him some change if you even have some. We don't need it anymore. Sorry, sir. We are digital ID. Can I please give you my Apple Wallet, my Apple Pay? How about that? How about that? No more muggings because everything's on your phone. And they can't get into your phone. Isn't this the best hell that we're in? This is not the worst hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
It's not that bad. So this is all to say that the Buc-ee's is the end of the line. Like, this really shows you how fat, obese, slop obsessed. Look at how the people are dressed here. Let's make it big. The European mind can't comprehend these fucking adult men in shorts. How about that? Look at this. Adult men wearing shorts, a bunch of underpaid people making sandwiches. How you doing, Mr. Elu? Are you sure they're not making fun of Americans? I know Europeans are for sure. Because can you imagine this lack of decorum? Look at this man here with the Oakleys, fake Oakleys, a t-shirt. This man's in his, he's pushing 60. And he's dressed like this in public. This one here, this man way too old for Abercrombie and Fitch wearing it. Look at the state of our Americans, folks. Look at the state. We live in Wally. Look at the state of, this man is too underpaid. He needs to be paid better so he can spend some time at the gym. Look at this. Look at our chubby little cherubs, our fat moms. Dude, the European mind can't comprehend this level of degeneracy. How about that? The European mind is busy contemplating, okay? Before America, fuck yeah. Like, it's all so vulgar. It's all so crass. Is this what this country was supposed to be? Vulgar and crass? I think not. How you doing, Taupe? Speaking about Hasan, didn't Destiny release some insane allegations about him? I did not see that, Taupe. Please fill me in. Because Hasan is getting on my good side, man. So if you have any reason to put him back on the bad side, I'd love it. Here we have, dude. This is the real American experience at a gas station. Our hero here, PBD. PBD. What would PBD do? Bracelets coming next. What would PBD do? Let's look at how PBD spends his days. This billionaire man of the people.
Pat, what are you doing?
See, this is a dream. When you make money, you get to afford to buy some high-end type of food. And nothing says more high-end than hot dogs at 7-Eleven. And if you've had this, you know how great this is.
How you feeling, Eric?
10 feet tall and bulletproof. Oh, that mustard.
Look at this. Ah!
Pat, what are you doing?
Dude, sometimes you need to taste the trenches, man. This is why PBD is so smart. His brain is not made for us. George Washington designed America for... That's why George Washington didn't have kids, by the way. George Washington did not have kids to make sure there was enough room for PBD to be in America. That's why. Because only a man of the people who would flaunt his... Look, he's a ripped guy, but he's not above you. He is not above you. He is not above a delicious 7-Eleven treat. This is the kind of billionaire you want, is it not? You want the slop-eating, 7-Eleven consuming billionaire. I mean, is it really that bad? Can an Assyrian brother eat a 7-Eleven hot dog? Please, let him breathe. This man knows how to sell image. He knows how to sell image. was craving a 7-Eleven. Look at that caption. Look at that caption. The accent is in the text. Was craving a 7-Eleven. Undefeated, a genius. I love him. I love this man. I love him. How you doing, Robert? Ate hot dogs yesterday at the casino. What casino are you at, my friend? I stopped going to the casino a while back, dude. I love to play poker, but I had a feeling they were cheating. And I actually saw a BuzzFeed video, I think, recently that showed how they cheat with the shuffler machines. So I was like, dude, I'm done with this. This sucks. They had to be cheating. They had to be cheating. Ephra says, I can't eat hot dogs. How you doing, Ephra? I don't like the idea of mystery meat. Gross. I don't eat 7-Eleven hot dogs either, Ephra. I don't, because I'm afraid of the nitrates and all that. But you know what, Ephra? That says to me that you and myself, we're a little too bougie. How about that? Maybe we're a little too bougie for this country. Maybe you and I are the problem because PBD will get on his hands and knees and eat a 7-Eleven hot dog when we won't. Maybe we're too bougie. Maybe we're too bougie. Tope says he wants that sausage deep down his throat, allegedly. All right. South Point says, Robert, I haven't heard of that one. Just play a little Keno. All right. That's cool, man. I'm glad that you have a good casino near you. The best casino near me is the Seminole. It's like 50 minutes, so it's not worth the drive. Because the one near me, the Miccosukee, dude, I swear they're cheating. They've had cheating scandals before. Like every casino in Miami cheats, man. It's ridiculous. We have to get here to Warren Smith, man. All right, this is his origin story. I want us to watch some of this because the reason that Warren Smith is famous, I don't like to hate. All right, I'm not a hater. You guys know me. I'm not a hater. I'm a regular dude, right? But when I see mid-wittery of this level, mid-wittery, I lose my mind. I lose my mind. And Elon Musk, as our most enlightened mid-wit billionaire, is a huge fan. And this is the reason he's famous. So I think we should start with seeing him debunk the claim that J.K. Rowling, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, which would make her someone who marginalizes transsexuals at the minimum, is not transphobic at all. Let's see how he does it. Robert says you live in Vegas. I did not want to reveal that, Robert, but yes, Vegas. Dude, I've heard that Vegas there are parts that are getting really scammy, like 6-5 blackjack instead of 3-2 and stuff. I've always wanted to go. I was planning on going in 2020 and then COVID happened. I know that Vegas is just, it's, I've seen that it's YouTube, right? But I've seen people being like, dude, it's not worth it. Like 6-5 blackjack is a total scam. I don't know how they're getting away with 000 roulette. Like, that's crazy to me. Let's watch here.
About J.K. Rowling? Is that so? What's going on with that? What do you want to know?
Whoa, Robert! Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the show, sir. Let me write a little message here. Thank you, sir. By the way, guys, I appreciate the super chats, but remember, we do have the bracelets now. The What Would Piers Morgan or What Would a Postmodernist Do bracelet. If you PayPal me, the $10 for one, $15 for two. If you can't pay, email me, man. There's the latest YouTube post details it, and we can figure something out. But this way, we get more money for the show, and we're able to upgrade stuff around here and keep it going. But I, as always, appreciate the super chat, Robert. A great supporter. Empty town. Yeah, I've heard that about Vegas, man. I've heard Vegas, and it used to be such a nice town. It's unfortunate. From what I hear, I've always wanted to go. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm going to California next year, so it's not that far. And Tope says, I remember the first video of his about Rowling or something, then bro just got big after that. Yes, and this is the video. So let's watch a little bit of the midwit genius that we live in.
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it? And, like, do you still like her work despite her bigoted opinions?
So let's get specific, though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions.
She has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
Hey, you've heard. So what? Can you give me an example?
If you look at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things. If you want, I could try and find something.
See if you can find one.
So, one of these tweets that she came out with in 2019, she said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real."
So you find that bigoted? What do you find about
It was
in there?
It was deemed transphobic.
It is 4 minutes of this, of a Socratic struggle session. That's what it is. It's a Socratic struggle session about why J.K. Rowling is not really transphobic, okay? And he's gone on to have a great YouTube channel. Hats off. This is not my type of thing. All right, it's not my... People think logic will save them. They think that logical rules will save them. Syllogisms and shit. Stuff that makes no sense. That in this world, who cares? But Elon Musk likes it. And what really surprised me, and why we used to have men. We used to have. Let's go to David Goggins for it. Who did we used to have teaching at the universities? Who did we have?
Do you like suffering, or do you just deal with suffering?
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
We used to have men teaching at universities. Men. Real men. But now we have people doing Socratic syllogisms. And look, not to take away from the guy, but who gives a shit about the Socratic method anymore? But guess what? He's doing lectures at universities now. He's doing lectures. Let's see this. And someone raised his hand to call him out. And I like this call out. This is very nice.
You said that you value autonomy in your thought, but all you really do in your videos, which you post nearly every day, is react to Joe Rogan podcasts, which doesn't really sound like individual thoughts to me. So can you comment on that?
That's a challenge.
Yeah, no. If we were to look at it, now and then I will cover a Joe Rogan interaction. I think the last one was Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. It might be, if we were to actually go through the numbers, it's probably more accurate, like maybe twice a month. If there were,
Why the fuck are we at a university talking about reviewing Joe Rogan on YouTube? People pay money. They're getting into debt to go to university. There is a debt crisis in this country. This debt is not dischargeable. And people are inviting in Socratic method YouTubers that review Joe Rogan. Part of the reason I have a beef with him is because he's gone after Thaddeus Russell, one of my heroes. Why are you... Warren Smith, Dude, I can't imagine paying for college these days. I was in the last chopper out of Nam for that being somewhat justified. If you bring in Warren Smith for a guest lecture, I might just blow my brains out. Dude, like, can you imagine paying for that? Sitting in class and going, I'm going to listen to Elon Musk's favorite Socratic philosopher. And what are we doing? What are we doing? This is what people are paying money for? This is what they're paying money for? All of these students, look, I like the call out. Sure, I like the call out. It's cool to call people. Look, we watch videos on this channel. That's kind of what the show's based on, but we're dissecting them. We're deconstructing, okay? We are deconstructing reality or hyper reality. What is he... If someone came in with bring fucking PewDiePie in, bring Mr. Beast, I might actually learn something. This is a circle jerk, dude. I blame Joe Rogan for this too. I would walk up, the call out's nice. I would walk up out of the class. I would say, I'm not paying for this and I'm writing to the student loan department at DOE in order to discharge my loans because this is not fair. That's the schizo education we're getting these days, dude. It's schizo education on schizo watch, man. Imagine paying for that. I would lose my goddamn mind. Robert says, too much greed chased everyone away. Robert, I've heard people say that in recent years that maybe the corporatization Vegas is the problem and that it was actually better when it was run by the mob because they were greedy, but they weren't that greedy, and they were greedy amongst themselves, you know? And it's a shame that that's how bad these corporations are, because a lot of the corporate overlords in Vegas have moved into Miami and they bought clubs and they all go out of business. So it's a real shame. I don't know what happened in the desert out there, man, but the corporate people that are in charge there are just real pieces of work. Like, they're real pieces of work. They just can't see something and like it won't work. Mr. Elu says, my 82-year-old live-in landlord thinks Elon Musk will solve the housing crisis. That level of delusion, you can't even fight that, Mr. Elu. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Elon Musk is going to solve the housing crisis. Thank you very much. Can I get a discount? You'd probably get a discount on rent. He'd probably let you live in for free if you were just like harassing him with Elon Musk videos, man. Maybe that's the hack. What did he say about Thaddeus Russell? Dude, he did a whole video series on Thaddeus Russell's stupid. Postmodernism is stupid. And I'm like, all right, dude, your Socratic method, you think that's going to save you? You fucking retard. Effer says, I used to like Joe Rogan and somewhat still do, but he has changed. And Mr. Elu says, same when he endorsed Bernie in 2020. I have not liked him in 10 years, to be honest. I used to watch him when I was like a teenager, but I can't listen to that podcast. I just can't do it anymore. I can't. It's gotten so boring to me, the people he has on, the way he talks. And when he really started doing comedy again, his last special, it was just like, trans people are evil. And I'm like, all right, dude, I get it. Like, you don't like trans people. That's fine. Whatever. Is this comedy? It's the meme with the butterfly. Is this comedy? Like, what are we doing here? How is this comedy? You know, it's not even funny anymore. Let's continue with Mr. Beastland that was built in Saudi Arabia. Hell yeah. This is where your kids are going to beg you to go. Mommy and Daddy, can we take a trip to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia? It's not going to be Orlando anymore. It's going to be like, Mommy and Dad, I want to go to Mr. Beastland in Saudi Arabia. Mommy, buy your niqab. Buy your niqab so we can go to Saudi Arabia. They don't wear niqabs anymore. I know, but like... Dude, if this is not a total repudiation of Warren Smith's worldview, it's crazy.
Beastland, my brand new theme park, opens up in less than 24 hours. This thing is the craziest thing I've ever done. I can't wait for you guys to experience this. Make sure you get your tickets before they sell out.
Can you imagine? It's one thing for your kid to be like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Florida to go to Disney World, or I want to go to California to go to Disneyland. Mom, Dad, can we buy a ticket to Saudi Arabia and then pay the $100 visa fee when we get in so that I can go to Mr. Beastland? Dude, it's the end of the line, folks. It's the end of the line. This is crazy. Look, a lot of us, we don't realize how strange things have gotten. But what I like to do is, look, like when El Salvador became the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, I was like, if I were 10 years old and you told me that was going to happen, it's 2011, 2009, would I believe you? I would say, no, absolutely not. That's impossible. If you're 11 years old or whatever age you were 11 and someone came and they said, hey, King Leo, hey, YC, how you doing, YC? Hey, YC, in 20 years, kids are going to be begging their parents to buy a ticket to Saudi Arabia in order to go to Mr. Beastland, you'd go, no, what drugs is... Officer, take him away. He's clearly on the early fence. Take him away. This is not... No. He's become hysterical, officer. Remove him. You wouldn't believe yourself if you time traveled, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Mr. Elu says, Joe Rogan's just copying Dave Chappelle. That's true. Dave Chappelle does the trans jokes too. I don't mind a trans joke, but it's like the whole thing. It's the whole show is like, trans people, am I right? And it's all right, dude, you're right. Can we move on to like another joke? Can we get new material, please? YC says Mr. Beast is the Antichrist. Interesting theory. Let's see if that pans out. This was probably built by underpaid workers from India and Bangladesh. Well, let's be fair. Well, no, actually, we can't be fair because people who build Disney World are actually like well paid. So yeah, I guess slaves, they built the pyramids and they built Mr. Beastland. Come on. Did you see the Beauty and Mr. Beast sketch on SNL last week? I did not, sir. I'm going to look that up afterwards. Let's continue. Here we have, this is, let's just watch it, dude. We live in perpetual childhood, not even adolescence. Let's see what happens here.
Pooh, I've waited 30 years to meet you. Oh my God. I love you my whole life. Oh my God. You're so cute. Oh my gosh, you're the cutest thing ever. I promise. Look at my little Pooh. And I have Winnie the Pooh phone case. I tell you I love you. I do. I love you, Pooh. I love you. I love you so much. Can we get a picture? Oh, yes.
Look, a lot of people are making fun of her, okay, for crying when she met Winnie the Pooh. If I met Xi Jinping, I might cry too, dude. I might throw myself on the ground. Maybe she literally thought it was Xi Jinping. I mean, Mr. Jinping, I love what you've built. Please, Mr. Xi Jinping, give me Chinese citizenship, please. I might cry too, you know. But more seriously, all right, more seriously. Thank you, Audio Vibes. More seriously, it's not Xi Jinping, all right? It's Winnie the Pooh. I would never say that about Xi Jinping, all right? More seriously, people are making fun of this young girl. They're saying, oh, she's a Disney adult. She should grow up. Grow up to what? I hate this line of thinking. I will admit I at one point did not like the Disney adults, okay? But what I realize is that the Disney adult is one of the more rational people in our society, okay? It's one of the more rational people. The Disney adult has deluded themselves into perpetual adolescence, perpetual childhood. And when were you last happy? When you were a child. If I could get this much joy from meeting Winnie the Pooh, I would take it. I would take it. This is a survival strategy, a coping mechanism. There is nothing different from her and a junkie, and the junkie has a better life than us because we must deal with the real, and they get to deal with this. This is fine. It's fine. It's okay. The reason you hate Disney adults, for anyone that does, conservatives hate them a lot, is because you're such a nihilist. You have nothing you love in your life. Like a Disney adult loves Disney. They have something to hang on to. What do you have to hang on to? To quote Barack Obama, to cling to your guns and religion? Guns are getting banned. It's illegal to be a Christian. That's what you tell me is happening. You tell me that's happening. So why not just become a Disney adult? To me, it seems like the best option. Let's catch up with the chats. I hate everything. How you doing, sir? Mr. Beast, biggest hustler in modern history. Dude, I've never consumed any of the Mr. Beast content, so I can't crown him with the title of wizard, especially because he's dealing with kids. And kids, it's a lot of hypnotism with kids. The kids love to be hypnotized. I've done it, dude. Like, hypnotizing kids is a lot of fun. You can calm them down by hypnotizing them. But, you know, cool. I guess he's a hustler. That's the right word. I hate everything. He's a hustler. I don't know if he's a wizard. Mr. Elu says, is this a prawn parody? Dude, get your mind out of the gutter, sir. This is real joy. This is the birth of a child in 1930. This is that kind of joy. Shout out to those wearing the outfits. Imagine being the guy in the costume, says YC. Minus 500 social credit. Xi Jinping, I apologize. Xi Jinping, we got the Deng Xiaoping plate. I'm a Deng fan. I like you and everything, but I'm a Deng fan for life. Please come and save us. Efra says, some people will be Disney adults. I am all ready to accept VR goggles. Is that any different, Efra? Absolutely not. You get this. The Modulardians in the chat understand. Let's continue. This here's pretty good. Someone removed the sound off of these videos that people love on TikTok. Let's watch. Normally there would be music. You know, what I wonder is, a lot of people make fun of this type of content. They say, you know, it's like it's bad, it's not good. But I wonder what his hell is, because this must have been fun for the first month or something, and now this is the whole brand. Mystery Lou says modern day minstrel show. Look, I don't like to use those type of terms, but I completely agree. But a minstrel show, I feel, was like more dignified than this in a lot of ways. It really speaks to the way things have changed. Marketing is now getting a ripped guy, a ripped black guy to shark bite your food. I feel for him. I feel for him trapped in this hell. I'm sure he never thought it would get to this level. I am Big Grove. I mean, we gotta let it rip. We gotta let it rip.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
This poor man, dude. I'm sorry. It's not his fault. You can't be mad. People are mad at him. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Okay? It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Efra says, why are people like this? Just enjoy your food. But it's not his fault, Efra. Like, this is just hell, right? Hell is other people. And his hell, the other people are his followers, actually. The people that are like, yes, a new shark bite video. Yes! Like, those are his hell. Because he wouldn't be doing this otherwise, you know? This poor guy. I even says Kaboom things in the background. Kaboom is where he's going to go to the toilet after eating all that food. I'm sure he doesn't even eat it, man. I'm sure he doesn't even eat it because it's all a simulacrum, right? It's a simulacrum of a food review. Because he's probably not eating it. He's probably taking that bite and then he's like, I'm done, I'm out. Probably completely switches. He's probably like a normal guy. He's like, I'm not going to eat this, dude. I'll post it on, just give me $100 and I'll post it on TikTok, man. I don't give a fuck, you know. YC says, reminds me of that behind the scenes video of Costco Boomer Doom guy. Oh, I remember that. That came out a few months ago. Yeah, they live in hell, dude. Like, it's sad. It's sad to see what the last man is reduced to. The last man is reduced to this. I wanted to play this here, dude. This is a Nick Fuentes clip that I actually found pretty insightful. And it speaks a lot to what dude, I'm telling you, Richard Spencer and Nick Fuentes, I never thought that I would be on the same page as these guys on some things. And Nick Fuentes here admits that conservatism is the ideology of the uneducated. Let's watch what he has to say.
30% of voters can't name all three branches of government. 13% can't name even one. And only 7% know all 5 First Amendment freedoms. 80% can't locate Iraq or Afghanistan on a map. Would you support a modern voter literacy test to incentivize more informed voting? Or any other solutions to incentivize more informed voting?
Maybe. I don't know. That's just like idiotic. You know, thinking the problem is like uninformed people are voting. Uninformed people are the only thing keeping the country going. The 20% of people that could find Iraq on a map are all liberals, okay? The 20% of informed voters that could find Iraq on a map, it's probably like 2% are veterans and 18% are like lib shits that went to college. It's probably like 2% veterans, 2% like talk radio boomers who are like, nah. And then the other 16% are liberals that went to college.
I've seen Richard Spencer make a similar point, man. And it speaks to the world we're in. Because he's completely right, dude. I hang out with everybody. I like everybody, man. But when you speak to people where like and I'm not saying, if you're Latino, you've gotten this question. Where are you from? My mom's from Venezuela. Oh, what part of Mexico is that in? And you're like, brother, dude, like, come on. You know, it's not an insult, right? But what this says, dude, is like we're being held back, man. Whether you're a liberal or a right-winger, which is different than a conservative. Like, the conservative voter is like the one no child left behind type shit, dude. Like, these people are just, for as much people hate college, you know, what else are you going to do? I think it's such an honest moment. And I'm glad he said it. And this is why I've seen a lot of people posting MAGA is dead, MAGA is over. And I'm inclined to agree at this point. But the reason MAGA exists is because of the poorly educated. Literally, Trump said that. Trump said that. And so, yeah, dude, like a literacy test, we'd have President Newsom. I think that'd be better. So I thought it was a pretty honest moment. I'm glad to see Nick Fuentes having an honest moment explaining who the voters of MAGA are. And there's a lot of good MAGA voters out there, dude. I like a lot of MAGA voters, but I tend to talk to people who are at least intellectualizing it, you know? But he is right. He is right. Let's continue, man. Let's continue. We have here, let's watch a 39-year-old man, what he's up to. Tim Pool, who says you should work till you die.
Hey, fingerboarding?
Yes.
On our custom skate park?
On our... Jesus, don't slam it. You're going to break the guy's little shins. You're going to break his little ankles. Whoa, shit. Okay, easy.
We'll keep it easy for the camera.
Easy, yeah.
Oh, no good. You want to film me fingerboarding?
Yes.
Right. All right. Tech Dex at 39. Let's see the quote suite. 39 years old. Playing with the Tech Dex. And while I don't hate on the Disney adults, I'm going to hate on Tim Pool for this because he's just so terrible. 39-year-old man, dude. Pushing 40, playing with Tech Decks. This is our political commentariat. This is... Brother. Let's bring out the Etch-a-Sketch too. Why not? The He-Man doll. How can you watch someone do this and then go, yeah, I trust his opinions on the Ukrainian conflict? This goes to what Fuentes was saying, dude. Like, I'm sure Tim Pool played a big part in getting support for Donald Trump and Israel. The same 40-year-old guy who's playing with Tech Decks. It's that there's an effect when you read news, I forgot what it's called, where you'll read something in the New York Times, you'll be like, that's complete bullshit. I know about this. And then you'll read something else and you'll be like, oh, I believe that. But you know that they publish bullshit. You can play with a tech deck, but if you're a serious guy who says that Ukraine is the enemy of America, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Mystery Lou says, wasn't he making fun of the college kid that works? Yeah. Yeah, he's making fun. This is the point of wealth in America. It's so you can buy tech decks and play with them in your 40s. That's why they fought World War I. They fought World War II. That's why Thomas Jefferson wrote those lovely words so that Tim Pool could play with a tech deck. Perfect. I never think it's a tech deck. They still make those. I had no idea either, man, because I'm not a child. The last time I saw a tech deck, I was probably 12 years old. He might as well pull out a fidget spinner. Let's continue. This here, dude, this is like the decline of the white nationalist brain, dude. Let me read you this tweet. This is real schizo posting. I am starting to notice that cows are interacting more with whites, as if aware that whites are being replaced. And they worry that other races will not show the same moral responsibility in caring for cows. And let's see the video.
I'll take it in, but don't look down.
Okay, the cows don't have opposable thumbs or arms, so they can't let the Roman, they can't let the Roman rip. But I guess these are Nazi cows. According to, this is the level of intellect we have on the right wing. Also, what I'm wondering is, instead of doing a Roman salute, wouldn't the cows start eating like curry and shit because Indians love them more than white people? I am starting to notice that cows are interacting more with whites as if aware that whites are being replaced, and they worry that other races will not show the same moral responsibility and caring for cows. Okay, big guy. Holy shit. What kind of brainworms are we dealing with? The cows. Does this mean that there's communist cows too? Like there's cows that are... Oh my God, man. Thank you, Dr. Ricardo Duchanesny, for letting me know that cows are white supremacists. I appreciate it. But Paritolino, how are you doing? Is he not just a tech deck adult? Tim Pool, the tech deck adult, has a good ring to it, Paritolino. I agree. How you doing? Mr. Elo says, a tech deck was like a mini skateboard that people used to play with in middle school when I was a kid. White nationalist cows, says YC. Yeah, white nationalist Roman saluting cows. That's it. The cows aren't even white, says Mr. Elu. Are we eating white nationalist beef? Like, are the cows, are they infecting us with white nationalism? YC says, you can't hear it in the videos, but the cows are telling this lady to have more white babies. They're telling her that, and they're filling her in on all of the Goebbels propaganda she missed. I hear everything says they gotta be trolling or rage baiting. And the thing is, I can see people reading this and going, yeah, that's definitely true. So it takes away from that, like, it's like, all right. Barito Lindo says these race baiting accounts are mostly bots, I swear. Yeah, maybe, right? This is the real Russian disinformation. It's to make white people believe that cows are racist and they love white people. I blame Disney for this. Talking animals was a bad idea, says Ephra. I agree, Ephra. I agree. Let's move on here. Let's get here. Let's do a Charlie Kirk catch up before we get to our one of our first main stories, which is Hasan is Chinese now. This is what they're doing with Charlie Kirk now. He has defeated death. Charlie Kirk is now a meme, a prawn meme. Let me move this over here so you guys can see it. He has achieved immortality, man. Look at this. Look at what they're making out of Charlie. Like, this is crazy, huh? Did he ever think he would be this big, this important? What else is going on with Charlie Kirk's legacy? What are we doing? This is more honorable than whatever fucking Erica Kirk did. What else are they doing?
Artificial intelligence. If you think about it, AI stands for artificial intelligence. But what if you add R after AI? That's air, and that's what we need to breathe. What if think about it?
Let's go. What else is going on? What else is going on with Charlie Kirk's legacy?
Charlie have forgiven his killer?
He's in heaven.
Oh my God, dude. This one's crazy here. This is apparently Erica Kirk shares a video of her daughter singing, quote, "Jesus loves me" to her baby brother, a song Charlie sang to her. The cows are white nationalists and the babies are singers. Why is Erica Kirk releasing this? Just these people, man. The quote tweet is, so many people need to be arrested, dude. And I don't know if they're saying that Tyler Robinson should be arrested. Erica Kirk should be arrested for releasing this. Like, this is sick. You're showing your grieving children to the world for clout. Erica, yeah, Erica, you're something else. You're something else. And here we have finally the final Kirkinator. I mean, look at this. We got Charlie Kirk on GTA 5 before Charlie Kirk. I mean, this is. This is confusing. This is confusing. We got this one here, dude. It's all right. I'm not going to confuse anyone's sexuality tonight. We're not doing that. All right, let's move on to our main story. All right, let's move on to our main story, which is here. We have a declaration from Hasan Piker, who we have it here. All right, look at what he said here. Hasan Piker, I did not like Hasan Piker. I did not like him. I did not think Hasan Piker was a good dude. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and Hasan Piker was a bad dude in my mind. I don't think anyone should say America deserved 9/11. But is he on a redemption arc? Because he is... let's see what he had to say here.
My mind, in my conscience, I have already become Chinese. Okay? We were already white Chinese in this chat. I've already become full Chinese. Okay? Let me just start by saying that. It's fucking sick. Okay?
Anyone who has been to China, by the way, has felt exactly what he said, dude. I felt this like my second day in China. I was like, this place is awesome. This place is so good. This is so good. You cannot resist it. You're walking around and you're like, yo, this place fucking rocks, man. This is wild. So I completely relate to this. I saw some people being like, oh, he's supporting a dictatorship. All right. Do you feel free?
Like, you have abundant style consumption paired up with a centrally controlled economy, an economic system that has yielded tremendous development. You have 1950s Soviet era building blocks next to the Gucci store. If there was ever a country that represented the synthesis, the things that I enjoy so much personally, if ever such a country existed, I do not know. You have to try the premium grilled chicken sandwich at McDonald's.
He's actually, look, man, I saw a lot of people, look up Tiananmen Square. Look up Tiananmen Square. Listen, that joy he's feeling, I felt it, dude. I felt it a lot in China. I was like, this place rules. This is the greatest place I've ever seen in my life. This is so awesome. I'm obviously not from here, so I can't feel like you can't immigrate to China, I don't think, and be like, I'm Chinese now, you know? But feeling white Chinese, man. I never felt Chinese when I was there, but I was like, I admire what you've done, Chairman. Hats off to you. I might post some of my pictures in China on the YouTube post, dude, because a lot of people gave him flack for this. But China is a place where, as some people mentioned previously, Hasan got beat up by the cops, but you're still like, no, this is too good. This is awesome. I can walk around. It's safe. I can buy whatever I want. Is he redeeming himself? Anyone who recognizes that China is doing a good job, I'm automatically biased for, which is it's not a great filter. But I always hate when people are, oh, China's evil. You know, America's taking advantage. You let yourself get taken advantage of. I think that if more Americans went to China for like a month or even a week, they would come back and we would solve all of the trade war immediately. We'd be like, oh, there's some stuff we need from over here too. There's some stuff we need from over here. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. Let's catch up with the chats here. Everything says, I'm going to bleach my eyes. Oh, was that in reference to Charlie Kirk stuff? Come on, dude. He defeated death. Mr. Elu says, AI stands for abused Indian. And that was Kate Upton on the GTA 5 cover. Absolutely. Ivan says, Chenk's nephew getting punked by the Chinese officers is hilarious. That was pretty funny to watch. The cops never gave me shit, but I wasn't streaming or anything. I don't know if that just happens. They gave me shit in Saudi Arabia for recording. In Jeddah. But, yeah. Mr. Elu says, wasn't his point 9/11 was blowback for America? Look, you can make that point, but just the way he phrased it, Mr. Elu, I was not happy with it. You know, I'm like, I mean, no one deserves like 9/11, you know. But yeah, I guess you could, if you're being generous. But Ron Paul makes the same point, and he makes it a little bit more eloquently. I had everything says, why is the dog abuser yapping? Did we get a conclusion on that? Is it dog abuse or is it not dog abuse? I'm not a dog owner. I'm a cat owner. I love cats. If they sell the thing, I'm just, because what I didn't understand is the thing he put on the dog illegal? Like, do you have to have that made? I don't get it, you know? Mr. Elu says, all pet owners are pet abusers. My cats love me, Mr. Elu. Come on. How am I abusing them? I kind of, when I pick them up, they don't like it. But you got to cuddle with a nice little cat every once in a while. Come here, you know? NYC says, didn't they bug his hotel room in China? Dude, they probably bugged mine. All right. That's let's see what else we got, man. We got I'm pretty sure we have. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's another bit of Hasan in China.
I also wanted
an interview here.
Show my audience.
And this is quote tweeted by one of my nemesises, Daniel DiMartino, who's Venezuelan by virtue of birth. Here we saw Hasan doing an interview.
I also wanted to show my audience and the Western world in general that there are a lot of rumors about China. There's a lot of misunderstandings and also just outright lies, and that it's just another normal country, just like every other country is.
This is Hasan Piker, an American online streamer, influencer, and a political commentator who wields significant influence over the young demographic in the US. He's known for his daily streams featuring political commentary and media analysis, and has amassed a combined 4.5 million followers on Twitch and YouTube. In his streams, he often discusses China's development with his viewers. Now, he has finally taken his first trip to China.
I know Beijing's your first stop in your whole travel plan in China. It's probably just been 2 days for you to arrive China. How's your experience so far?
It's been amazing. I haven't slept at all, but you know, I'm just I'm carrying myself because I'm so excited. It's been a remarkable experience thus far. But I was always very excited to come to China, so this has been a dream come true for me.
What do you want to experience the most, or what do you want to try the most?
The food. I want to see all the big tier 1 cities, but most importantly, I am super stoked that I'm going to get on a high-speed train tomorrow.
I took that train. It was very cool.
To go to Shanghai, because I also want high-speed rail in America.
Why? Why are you looking forward to visit China?
Well, part of it is because I talk about China quite a bit as far as like lessons to learn and what America could adopt and emulate, and seeing it in real time I think is a lot different. I also wanted to show my audience and the Western world in general that there are a lot of rumors about China. There's a lot of misunderstanding.
So he got a lot of shit for this interview. We can see here, Daniel DiMartino said, yes, they want to turn America into a socialist country, and they will try democratically, but their goal is to be like Venezuela and China, become a dictatorship. That is why people like Hasan Piker, friend of Zoran Mamdani, defends the Chinese Communist Party. We do not drop the words Venezuela and China in the same sentence, dude. That's not the case. Venezuela is a disaster, okay? I may not be popular to say, dude, but I am not one of these defenders of the Venezuelan economic system. It's actually a disaster. It's actually bad. It does not work. And I give them some slack, but China is like completely different. It's completely different. I don't buy this critique that it's like Zoran Mamdani is not trying to Deng Xiaoping New York City. That's not what he's trying to do. He's not trying to Hugo Chavez New York City. It's not going to happen. And I'd say at a deeper level, Hasan getting shit for this is really curious to me, because a lot of people over the years have done interviews with Al Jazeera Plus. And I'm not anti-Qatar or anything, but Al Jazeera, dude, Al Jazeera they put on fucking UBL, like Osama bin Laden, you know? And they put on like the Arab Spring. You know, Al Jazeera is a propaganda outlet. And at the end of the day, CNN, all of these other ones are the same thing. Like, what is the difference? The explicit state ownership versus implicit state ownership. You go on CNN and try to talk about something important and see how that ends up. You know, so I can't say I'm a Hasan fan. I still don't like the guy. But I've seen very few people. I think I've seen 2 people in my life, 2 friends that visit China. And they come back and like, bro, yo, that shit was epic. Like, Miami guys, like, bro, dude, Cuba is a shithole, bro. But China, I don't know how the fuck they do it, bro. They're communists, but that shit works, bro. And I'm like, I know. I went there like 7 years ago. It was awesome. All right, you know. Let's catch up with the chats. Ivan says, I think the critiques do have a point because at least here people can openly crap on our country compared to over there where you shouldn't openly crap about the CCP. Right. I will say in my experience, I hate everything. That when I was there, knowing that was the one rule in terms of free speech actually made me feel freer because it was like a defined rule. Because you're right, you could talk shit about America, but you can also be debanked. You can be TFR'd. That's when they take away your credit card processing, you know? And they'll do that. And people talk about social credit. Do you know, getting TFR'd is like the worst thing in the world for a business. And it happens all the time. So, you know, you could talk all mad shit here, but it's not like there's no punishment. You know, people get punished. There's a do not fly list. There's a lot of stuff that will get you in trouble here, you know. John Lewis was on the no fly list, you know. So, but I get your critique. I get it. Like, you know, maybe they could liberate some speech codes over there. But if you're saying it's just one thing, you know, it's like, hey, don't talk about the CCP. And I have to say, the only thing is that the only cope, if we're going to call it that I would have is that the CCP, like, they try to actually execute corrupt people. You know, of course, there's political motivations as well. And I'm not a shill here. I'm not being paid by China. Not to say I wouldn't take a check. But, you know, Xi Jinping's corruption cleanup. I mean, if we had that in America, you know, it'd be interesting to see. Everything says he decided to show a picture of his face plaster on Mao's body. I did not see that. He learned his lesson about putting his face on Mao. I did not see that. You don't do that in China, dude. I was very surprised because I'm not a Maoist. And I was like, dude, Mao's not, to me, peak is like deng. You know, peak China is deng. But people were like, no, you can't talk about Mao like that. And I was like, all right, I'll chill out. But to me, deng is like the guy, you know. Lee Kuan Yew loved deng, you know. Well, how you doing? Is it just me? For some reason, I just destroyed my relationship with law enforcement for a new political firm. What do you mean? What happened? What happened? Mystery Lou says, didn't Venezuela rely on oil and was crippled by sanctions? I take issue with that narrative, Mystery Lou. I know that's common, like the Code Pink left, sorry to say that, but the sanctions were not like what's done to Cuba. And by the way, I don't even think I think they're an excuse that the regime uses, dude, because Venezuela was just mismanaged. Like, it was very mismanaged. I can do an episode on Venezuela one day, but that's why I can't give them a lot of slack, because they mismanaged the shit out of the economy, man. Like that's what bothers me about it. They mismanaged it to death. If they had had competent people in charge, they could have survived. But, you know. Ephra says, the current system is heading to Venezuela, to be honest. Economic systems are just labels. Completely agree, Ephra. I have been saying that for years. I've said conservatives are more right than they know, that we are going in a Venezuelan direction. Completely agree with you, Ephra. I'm glad that you see it too. What makes an economic system strong and robust is respect for civil rights and strong institutions you can trust. Who would invest in a country that does not have this right? And sadly, we are losing this. It will be Venezuela 2.0 at this rate. I completely agree that socially and politically, it's getting in a Venezuelan direction. This reminds me so much of Venezuela in the 90s, dude, the current state of America. It is very similar to Venezuela in the 90s. So you are more right than you know, Ephra. Appreciate that. Mystery Lou says, you couldn't talk shit about Charlie Kirk for a while. That's true. That's true. Peter Donovan, haven't seen you here before, sir. Please like and subscribe. Subscribing takes half a second, guys. It helps us keep making great content like this. 3 times for Trump. Interesting. A triple Trump voter. I haven't met. I met a couple. That's cool. Mystery Lou says, Tulsi Gabbard was on a no-fly list. Nick Fuentes, too. You have a nuanced view of China, King Leo. I do, because, look, China, there's a lot of agitprop. That's what bothers me. And I'm someone who likes to dig a little bit. And so I'm not going to shill for China, But I'm going to say, like, there's a lot of good stuff they do over there. I did a project in college where I had to compare the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange. And you look at the companies that are publicly listed in Hong Kong versus America. And over there, they're real. Like, it's companies that are extracting oil, extracting iron ore. And they don't perform as well as American stocks. But I'm like, dude, in the long term, this is what you want to fund. So I try to be like as fair as I can with China. Fuad says the Trump admin just shut down an over $2 million payment to Obama for royalties for Obamacare. I didn't see that. I'm going to check that out. Ivan says, yeah, and the officers wanted to check his phone, and they actually got his phone and tried to look for the photo. I actually wiped my phone when I went to China, so I wouldn't have that issue. But I don't know how it works streaming over there, you know? I've been trespassed in America for filming, so I am like, I just hate that people don't allow themselves to be filmed nowadays, because they're being filmed regardless, you know? Fuad says the Obamas were getting $2 million for royalties for Obama. I did not know that, Fuad. I'm going to look that up. And Peter says, Trump betrayed us. The midterm Democrats I'll now vote for will impeach him, and this time I'll applaud it. Nice. I'm glad to see that we have a Trump voter who's thinking. And now we have to get to our other main story before we get to...
I've said this before, but just as a reminder.
Before we get to Trump, Tucker Carlson's break with Trump, which is pretty interesting, man. It's interesting to watch. I'm going to play this, and you're going to watch it. Megyn Kelly on this show is like a lol cow. But this is another level of low cow, dude. If you miss this, you're going to love this. You are going to love this. Let's play it out, see what Megyn Kelly is saying. This is on the heels of Donald Trump being kind of credibly accused at this point of being part of the whole Epstein thing.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts.
Hang on. Let's hear that again, Megyn. Let me hear that again, Megyn. Let me see if you guys can still see that here. Let's hear that again. Let's hear that one more time.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type.
One of those parties.
Someone get the cops on the phone. Let's continue.
Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts.
No, it's not an excuse. No.
That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn, now they call it child sexual abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh, no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever.
Officer, I thought she was 15. She's only 8. First question. Does this mean that Megyn Kelly is a libertarian now? She's talking about the age of consent. What? That's a libertarian issue. All right. Dude, this is not a great look, Megyn. What is the cutoff now? If she had said 16, if they were 16, which would imply that they're legal in New York. I don't know about the Virgin Islands. I think New York is 16 years old. Maybe it's a little better. Maybe? Why would you say this? Why would you say this? Donald Gorbachev is not beating the allegations. Do I even have to explain how this rhetoric is not helpful? Is not. Also, I mean, does this mean that Megyn Kelly would be cool with older men getting with 15-year-old girls? Is that what this means? Is that what she's implying? Megyn. Let's hear this part again. Let's hear it again.
This person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby.
Dude, dog, my lawyer is Megyn Kelly, bro. We're going to lose the case. This, bro. Megyn, sweetie. Megyn's out here making 15-minute videos about why Muslims are evil. Meanwhile, she's defending Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump because they weren't 8 years old, they were 15. Every public school male teacher just heard this and let's catch up with the chats. I don't even know what to say. Oh my god. It's just. Efra says, "Are you still talking about the Epstein list?" In quotes. Yeah, dude. If you voted for Trump, I don't get it anymore, man. Like this guy has let everyone who voted for him down in every single aspect. What has Trump delivered for you? And then for this to come out, and it's more serious now. Total bungling. YC says, bruh. Like, this is crazy. I even says, so her friend was a witness or an accomplice. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, her friend. Yeah, it's her friend that knows, right? Oh, my God, I even thought of that. Yeah, her friend must have been involved. Her friend knew at least, right? Megyn. Dude, she might get in. That makes you an accomplice too, right? By proxy. Full Hat says the Democrats spent 4 years holding on to the Epstein files and nothing. If there was anything about Donald Gorbachev would already have been presented. I don't know if that's true, Full Hat. Miss Rilu says she has a daughter of that age. So her daughter, 50-year-olds, get ready to meet Megyn Kelly's 15-year-old daughter. Get ready to meet her because she's an eligible bachelorette. I hate everything. She's not helping the case. I don't think she's helping the case, dude. If I were Donald Trump, I would get this woman off the air. This is pathetic. It's so bad. Fuad says it's a distraction and that Megyn Kelly is not MAGA, I assume. foil hat. This is more than a distraction. This is. You can't help but look away at this train wreck foil hat. It's a little different. It's a little different. She's an operative, sure, but why is she saying this? Efra says, the host looks uncomfortable and looks like she is not sure if she should agree with Kelly. It's similar on how Speaker Johnson probably feels, but not really. I don't think he actually cares. Yeah, this is Batia Ungar Sargar, who I don't like, but why would he make this argument? It's such a bad argument. All right. Let's get to the main story, which we're going to need to use our... Let's end Schizo Watch here. So this came out while we were on air last night, and we're going to periodically, not pause, but we're going to have to play this clip because I don't want to get in trouble.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Because this is some interesting stuff here. All right, we're going to watch Tucker Carlson, who is now at war, essentially, with Mark Levin. Okay, before we look at that, I thought this was a pretty good meme. Mark Levin's response to Nick Fuentes, and this is actually his real voice. Like this was pretty crazy to watch. I love this response here. This is what Mark Levin was saying when Tucker Carlson platformed Nick Fuentes.
How dare you? You can't say that. I'm smart. I'm an expert. You see that degree on the wall? My mommy said I'm smart. I'm an important person. I went to college. I have a degree. How dare you question me? You're a conspiracy theorist. You hate expertise. You hate experts. You're anti-Semitic. You're a Russian spy. Putin is using you to spread disinformation, and you're anti-Semitic. Security.
Can you believe that's Mark Levin's real voice? I didn't know. That's so good. That's crazy, huh? I love you, Full Hat. I love you, sir. So let's watch here Tucker Carlson taking on essentially Donald Trump in a lot of ways, what he had to say.
Pretty much every morning you wake up and open your phone and think to yourself, I wonder if this roiling fight on the right is still ongoing. The fight over who's a Nazi and who's Nazi adjacent and who should be platformed and who should be deplatformed. That fight, the one that has mesmerized ex-users across the world. What is that fight actually about and how long will it continue? Well, the first thing to know about it is that it didn't start 3 weeks ago with Nick Fuentes' appearance on a podcast. No, this has been a fight taking place mostly behind the scenes since January. And that tells you a lot about what it's actually about. So here's how it began. Donald Trump inaugurated January 22nd of this year. Almost immediately after, he is visited at the White House by the first head of state to come to Washington, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And the visit is not simply a congratulatory visit. They're not actually allies in any sense. Remember that Benjamin Netanyahu was one of the very first to congratulate Joe Biden after the 2020 election. So there's probably not a lot of warmth there, just guessing. No, there was a purpose to the visit and the subsequent visits by the Prime Minister of Israel to Washington. And that was to get American support for a regime change war in Iran to overthrow and replace the government of Iran, which the nation of Israel sees as its primary regional threat.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Okay. Dude, I'm really suspicious of Tucker because how can he talk like this? I'm surprised that he's allowed to say this stuff. It was only a few years ago when you couldn't say anything beyond Israel is America's greatest ally. And you guys know I'm not really big on that conflict. I don't really follow it closely. But I remember people got in real trouble for saying this. How is Tucker saying this and it's on YouTube? You know? Let's continue. This gets even crazier.
Iran has all kinds of very dangerous conventional weapons. The United States spends a lot protecting Israel from those missiles. And Israel is also concerned that at some point, Iran will either make or buy a nuclear weapon, leaving Israel no longer the only nuclear-armed nation in the region. So that's what it's actually about. And to be honest, you can see from Israel's point of view, if you're trying to identify long-term serious threats to you, Iran would be at or near the top of the list, especially since Israel has taken out almost all the other threats. So it's just Iran. The question is it in America's interest to participate in that war. And make no mistake, Israel wouldn't last 3 days in a war by itself against Iran. In fact, probably not even 24 hours. Israel's population centers would be taken out by Iran's conventional weapons. And at that point, the Israeli government could either nuke Iran, starting a chain reaction that, you can't really predict once it begins, or allow hundreds of thousands of its own citizens, certainly tens of thousands, to be killed. So Israel could not do it alone, and no honest person suggests or would suggest that it could. It needs the United States. So the question from the American...
Mr. Elu points out that this is basically Pat Buchanan talking points, and Tucker said that they were... I don't even want to say the word, dude. I don't even want to say the word.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
In the 2000s. I remember that. He's just copying Pat Buchanan. This is so strange. How you doing, Street Cat? Let's continue here, man. This is... wow.
Perspective is it good for America to get involved in yet another Israel-inspired regime change war in the Middle East? There have been quite a few, most notably Iraq. Is that a good idea? And so that debate began, and it mostly began behind the scenes. It didn't sort of peek out into public view very often, but when it did, the people who wanted the regime change war against Iran with almost zero exceptions, almost never admitted what they actually wanted, and they certainly never acknowledged what the debate was actually about. It was about one nation's interest versus another nation's interest. Do those interests convene? Are they the same thing, or are they at odds with each other? I can see why it'd be a good idea for Israel to want this. Is it a good idea for us? That's the debate that never took place. And it didn't take place because almost from the beginning, the people who wanted regime change war with Iran made the debate instead about, why do you hate the Jews? You're a Nazi. And of course, that was never what the debate was about, because Israel, the nation of Israel, the one with the parliament, the Knesset, and the military, the IDF, and lots of people and tech firms, and is not, by the way, exclusively Jewish, and it isn't actually the same as all Jews in the world at all. And in fact, there are a lot of Jews around the world who have mixed feelings about Israel, or certainly don't want a regime change war in Iran. But the people who do want that in the United States...
Okay, so we're going to skip ahead to when he addresses Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. But what I'm wondering here, man, is I'm very confused, because if you said this kind of stuff a few years ago, you would get in real trouble. Real trouble. And I'm very, very, very confused how he's getting away with it. And the interesting thing is, does this mean that people are breaking from the Israel alliance? Is this really over? Did Zoran's crew end up winning? Did Nick Fuentes' crew end up winning? Because I see here, I hate everything said. I can see the MAGA ousting Trump from the movement, which is poetic. It is poetic, but it's going to be strange to see it happen because of Israel. My whole life, everyone was pro-Israel. All across the political spectrum in this country was like, oh, Israel's our greatest ally. And what does this actually mean? I mean, why? Because there's two theories. There's competing theories. I saw Richard Spencer put one out where he said that Nick Fuentes is being co-opted into the J.D. Vance movement, actually, by being interviewed by Tucker Carlson. But if Tucker is dropping Israel as an issue, a guy who defended the Iraq war, what does this mean? What does this mean? Let's get to the Ben Shapiro part, because this was revealing. Because these guys, it's a very incestuous class, right? These guys all know each other, the commentariat, and dude, we gotta find this here. I like to see Ben Shapiro being hurt, because he's obviously a psychopath. Here we go. And it's always good to see Ben Shapiro hurt. So it's interesting. Let's see what he was saying about Ben Shapiro. Street Cat says, don't look into Spencer. the thing is, Spencer, he's been saying some like very reasonable stuff, Street Cat, and I know what you mean because I was like, this guy was a white nationalist and all this, but he's not really saying that stuff anymore, you know? So let's see here what he had to say about Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin.
And it's interesting because people like Levin and Ben Shapiro, who at one point had this like media empire propped up by Facebook, the Daily Wire, with some good people on it. You know, it's fine. It's fine.
He's calling the Daily Wire controlled opposition, which is wild to see.
Fine. But Ben Shapiro spent, I don't know, a decade posing as someone who actually cared about your concerns as an American. He did it imperfectly. There were flashes that he didn't really care. But he's like, no, I'm a conservative. I'm not just interested in the fortunes of one tiny country in the Middle East with a population of 9 million. No, I have a lot of interests. I really care about this country, and I'm against the trans movement or whatever. But increasingly, as everyone's gotten more hysterical and prone to sort of blurting out the truth, that veil has dropped, and you can see what Ben Shapiro really, really cares about. So this is a very revealing exchange that took place 6 days ago, last Thursday, on stage with Megyn Kelly. Ben Shapiro was just sitting there being interviewed by Megyn Kelly and he said something like, well, Tucker Carlson's, for Maduro, the communist leader of Venezuela, who I guess were on the way to killing or something, forcing out, regime changing him. And he defended Maduro. Didn't, actually. And Megyn Kelly says, well, Tucker said in his show that Maduro, most people didn't know this, whatever his many faults, I wouldn't hire him as an economist, okay? But whatever his many faults, has the most socially conservative country probably in the hemisphere. So Venezuela is just a fact. I mean, I didn't make this up. I'm not.
That's not true, fellas. I know it because I know Venezuela. That's not true. He's going to point to the fact gay marriage isn't legal. It's never been legal in Venezuela. Okay?
In charge of Venezuela. Just noticing that Venezuela has banned pornography, banned abortion, banned gay marriage, banned sex changes, and banned usury. You don't have credit cards with 40% interest in Venezuela. Okay.
Look, if you're a libertarian, if you're an anti-interventionist, this is how you should talk to avoid an intervention. You should always downplay a regime's issues. Because when the Americans are agitating, you should be doing that. But I'll just say, being a fair broker here, Tucker is exaggerating. There is usury in Venezuela. The people in charge of Venezuela are a kleptocracy at this point. I'm not saying there should be intervention, but this is a very libertarian way of avoiding intervention. And that's fine. That's fine.
Ben Shapiro responded this way.
Tucker's made the point, I'm not going to here to be Tucker's defender, but he's made the point that Maduro is culturally conservative.
Who gives a shit? The guy's a communist dictator. Everyone in his country is eating dog. He's shipping fentanyl to the United States to kill Americans. Why do I give a shit?
Now, this is complete bullshit. I'm very glad that Ben Shapiro is getting called out like this. Maduro is not sending fentanyl to the United States. I can say that with clarity, dude. That is not happening. And I know that because they have changed the fentanyl story a million times. First it was China, then Mexico, then Chinese scientists in Mexico, and then Maduro. Ben Shapiro is endorsing breaking international law here, making the world hell, even though it's already hell. Okay? This is complete and utter bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And I'm glad that Tucker is calling this out. And the people in Venezuela are not eating dog, as Ben Shapiro says. I hate that stereotype. People may be poor, but you don't get to dunk on people. Ben Shapiro, you're a piece of shit. If you want to help people, you don't denigrate them. Jorge Ramos did the same shit a few years ago. They're not eating dog. Okay? They may be poor, but don't say that everyone's eating dog. Go fuck yourself, dude. Go fuck yourself. You don't talk like that about other people that you want to help.
Whether he's anti-LGBTQ rights.
Who gives a shit? I do. I'm not moving to Venezuela. Not pro Maduro. But I care about that. Why wouldn't I care about that? I've got kids. Like, first of all, I'm against abortion. Sorry, unpopular. I feel that way. I think it's really sad. I would personally become poorer to end abortion, voluntarily become poorer to end abortion in the United States. That's not a choice. Don't want to become poor, but I would because I care about it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're offended that I do, but I care about it. Lots of people care about it. I don't think pornography is good. That really hurts people. You know, I don't think pretending that the sexes are the same is good. And you claimed that you didn't think it was good, but it turns out, quote, I don't give a shit. Maduro's against Israel. Oh, okay. I don't give a shit. Well, you spent like a decade pretending you did give a shit, that you were on the side of like normal Americans who have a mix of concerns. They definitely care about economics and they care about social issues too because they have children and they see where this is going. It's not good. That your economic condition is not the only measure of health. Your spiritual condition matters too. It's just a fact. It does. If you're totally degraded, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's not worth it. It's not worth getting the whole world and losing your soul. Sorry. And most people feel that way, but not Ben Shapiro. He doesn't give a shit. So why the hostility? Well, maybe because if you keep talking about the so-called social issues, which are not limited to abortion and pornography and gay marriage, the trans issue, they get pretty quickly to economics, to usury, to lending money and interest. And most people, including me, are not against lending money and interest, conceptually. But it depends on what interest rate it's being loaned at.
Okay, so now we're getting into some dark waters here. All right, we're getting into...
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
YouTube, don't tase me, because look, Tucker, he can say it as much as he wants, but dropping Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro, who is famously, you know, a member of the Jewish community, and bringing usury into the equation. All right, I think that usurious rates are gross. This takes a lot of balls, him saying this. I don't know how he can say this stuff. I don't know. Let's continue.
So there are payday loans in this country that are 600% annually. 600% interest annually? And who's taking payday loans in this? Well, poor people are. And they're never getting out of it. They're car loans. They're credit card loans. There's private credit. We used to call it loan sharking. At exorbitant rates so high that people will never get out from under them. They're enslaved by it. It's called debt slavery. It's 100% real. It's not an ideological point. It's just an obvious observation. And it was one of the observations that Charlie Kirk was making on a daily basis before he was assassinated, which is interesting. And it's that kids are buying food on credit. Buy now, pay later. That's credit. You're paying interest on that, whether they call it that or not. Late fees. People are loaning you money at a much higher interest rate than, say, rich people are borrowing money. And that's bad because it's really hard to get out of it. And if you're wondering why the average American homebuyer, American-born homebuyer, is almost 40 years old, when the year I graduated from college, it was 28. How did that happen?
And this is interesting here because Tucker he sounds like a communist. You know, he sounds like, not to denigrate him, but like a DSA type, you know, like a social democrat. Is this the MAGA split that's happening where the Republican Party is going to become some sort of national, not national socialist, right? But like a national party that actually cares about going after the bankers, going after the money lenders, the money changers? Dude, like this is pretty wild to say. And this is all at Ben Shapiro's expense, but it's also his cause. Ben Shapiro has caused this reaction by shilling for the status quo. We saw him yesterday saying that affordability is not a real issue. You saw him today saying H-1Bs need to come here because there's no talent. So I don't understand. Like this is like MAGA communism was made into a real meme. Like this is communism, which is fine. Dude, payday loans. I've always hated this argument. I'm glad he brought it up. If you ban payday loans, what Ben Shapiro will tell you is, well, if you ban payday loans, then people are going to go to mobsters to get cash. And then they're going to get their legs broken. I don't think that's true. I think when you ban something, you see less of it. I think we have the evidence for that. prohibition worked. So I don't think that's true. Piracy prohibition worked. Only until recently, you could not pirate anything online. It was very difficult. So these guys, like Ben Shapiro, and they don't know what they created with their flippant rhetoric. Ben Shapiro just just not caring about the status quo for American citizens. And the fact that there's a real counter-reaction from the Tucker wing that seems to be ready to oust Trump, it should scare these types, man. It should really scare them. And it will all have been their own doing.
Happen. People are in too much debt. This is probably, if it isolated in a world with a lot of issues, a lot of pressing issues, debt for young people is probably the number one issue, which is to say it's the number one thing that is destroying them and making it impossible for them to get married and have children, which Ben Shapiro told us he cared about. And that's the conversation that they absolutely don't want to have. So if you say, well, Maduro, whatever his many faults, probably stole the election. Looks that way to me. I don't know, but it looks that way. People say he's bad. I'm okay. I believe you. He's bad. But he doesn't have that. And that's a good thing. And Ben Shapiro's like, I don't give a shit. Shut up. He's a communist. It makes you wonder how we're defining communist here. Because, of course, in the United States, communist no longer means someone who believes Marx and Engels. It has nothing to do with academic theory. That's all gone. Communist in the United States is a synonym for someone who seeks to rot a society from within and destroy it. And I guess I would argue that if you don't give a shit about pornography or 63 million abortions in the United States since Roe v. Wade or whatever, and if you don't care about 600% annual interest rates on payday loans being given to the poor, who's the communist exactly? Who's trying to rot this country from the inside? Who doesn't care about the destruction of human beings in our country? It's not me. You're a communist. So I thought a lot about this. I didn't want, you never want to extrapolate too much from a single clip. You don't want to be cruel to people. You don't want to be unfair.
Now, it's important to remember the context. He started this clip by calling out the pro-Israel wing of the Republican Party. So in some ways, this association is making it seem like the pro-Israel wing is the one responsible for the social degradation of the United States, the financialization, the destruction of the economic system. And dude, I would not be surprised if there is some merger at some point between the Tucker wing and the Zoran type wing. I hate everything's mentioning that this is like a Ron Paul moment and they're going back to Ron Paul. That is true, but it does seem a little bit more hostile than Ron Paul. I hate everything. I really do think so. And Street Cat brought up that... Sorry, Street Cat. I missed you. You had a good chat. Yeah, good luck asking Italians nowadays. That's what I mean. He is completely right. If you ban payday loans, there's no mafia to lend you money anymore. This doesn't exist. People will live within their means. Now, this would crash the U.S. economy, by the way. Everyone lives on credit here. That's just the way it works. So if you're willing to sacrifice the economy, which I've never seen any talking head really say that except for a radical, like Marxist type. And now you're hearing it from the right and saying that we can crash this plane and we'll survive, we'll be okay. I mean, it's preferable to Ben Shapiro's bullshit, right? Efra says it will be nonstop and the financial institutions will be shamed like never before. It gets worse. That's the thing, right? It's if you actually want to go after the banks, by the way, like the banks will fuck you. Elliot Spitzer, for all the New York heads, I actually liked him and he went after the banks. That sex scandal was a product of the banks. If you try to regulate these people, they will kill you. They will kill you. So it's pretty brave. It's pretty brave. Mystery Lou says there's already collaboration. It's called MAGA communism. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. And Street Cat mentions that Eugene Debs was involved with immigrants in California being serfs for avocado farmers. That's the thing, too. I've seen Tucker say that over the years, too, that illegal immigration is hurting the illegal immigrants as well. That it's making them a slave class. Which may be some self-interested thing because he just wants Americans to have these jobs. But it's very interesting to see this attack on voodoo economics, this trickle-down bullshit that Ben Shapiro has pushed for 20 years and has dominated this country since at least Bush the second.
Been unfair many times. It weighs on me. Don't want to do that. So kind of looked around. Is this consistent with Ben Shapiro's worldview? Does he think GDP, the aggregate economic activity in a country, the bottom line number, which really doesn't tell you that much, but for simple people like Ben who aren't sophisticated in their understanding of economics, that's important. GDP, GDP, GDP. Never hinting at the things that it doesn't measure, never hinting at what a distorted number that is, just like the inflation rate or the employment rate. I mean, these are not really real numbers. But is he really a guy who cares about GDP or economic activity or some people getting rich more than he cares about the lives of his fellow Americans? Boy, that's a pretty heavy charge. You'd hate to level that against anyone. You'd hate to claim that about anyone. Could this be a guy who really only cares about a foreign country?
Okay, we have to
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
One more time.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
We are doing the dual loyalty canard as it's known. This is wild. I've always hated GDP. I've hated GDP and GNP. I think they're stupid. I think they're stupid measures. But this is wild. Dude. They're doing the dual loyalty meme. Like, dude, these MAGA communists, like Tucker Carlson, this woke right, as Constantine Kissen calls them, is getting real comfortable with calling out the moneylenders, and that is something to watch.
So we went looking. So first, and famously, don't even put it on the screen because I'm sure you've seen this, there was Ben Shapiro saying, I'd be willing to vote for Bibi Netanyahu for president of the United States if only it were constitutionally allowed. Huh? You want some foreigner to run our country? Who even thinks like that? He said that. Maybe it was just he was getting carried away. He just loves Bibi so much. Loves the guy who is killing tens of thousands of children in Gaza so much that he wants him to run our country. Okay. But then we found a couple of other clips, which are recent, that give a window, not just, and I hate to be mean to poor Ben Shapiro, who's clearly going away as a media force. I hate to be mean to him. But this does reflect the worldview of an awful lot of people in Washington and a lot of people in Ben Shapiro's world. And that worldview is the people of this country don't really matter. They can be replaced. And by the way, if you complain about the fact they're being replaced, which they are at high speed, it's measurable, then you're a Nazi and you must shut up and be punished. But those people don't really matter. They should do what they're told. And ultimately, they should just serve the people who are profiting from all of this. Does he really think that? Well, here are a couple of clips that you can watch carefully and answer the question for yourself. Here's Ben Shapiro.
We have trained an entire generation of people to believe that if their lives are not what they want them to be, it's the fault of systems, as opposed to decisions that are in their own control. And politicians absolutely have a stake in selling that. A lot of people in our industry have a stake in selling that. It makes people feel good about themselves and bad about the world. And the reality is, if you want a better life, you should feel better about the world and worse about yourself. If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
It's hard to know where to start with that clip. I think that's been on the internet. And
this is, dude, I made a video yesterday called Ben Shapiro's a psychopath, because he's a psychopath, right? I mean, only a psychopath would say that publicly. You could believe that, but to say it publicly, you're a psychopath. You're an autistic psychopath, actually. You're an autistic psychopath to say that publicly. That's insane to say. You don't say that. But what I'm really curious about is he is creating an enemy here, Tucker Carlson. He's creating an us and a them. He's saying we are MAGA communists, for lack of a better term, and they are pro-Israel, America-hating, evil people. And that, dude, like, Tucker Carlson does not have much influence with Trump, is my understanding, these days. What is the plan? There has to be some sort of secret plan here that you're not seeing and I'm not seeing. Tucker has to be working in the background to make some sort of split or putsch in the conservative movement, in the Republican Party, maybe from outside. Because he is using those clips, man. It's meant to make you angry. It's meant to make you hate Ben Shapiro, who's one of the most important voices in American conservatism. And that's really something. That's really something. Gio is here. I haven't seen you here before. As a moderate conservative, I've always loved Ben Shapiro. So glad to see his downfall. I am glad too, Gio. If you're new here, guys, like, comment, subscribe. It's free. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. Subscribing helps the most to grow this channel. Consider becoming a member. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been able to catch up with the chats because I want to get more of this review he's doing here of the Shapiro clips because it's very, very good.
People are experiencing gut-level revulsion when they see it, and they really should. And there's so many ways to approach that. There's so many things wrong with those statements. So childish, those statements, so lacking an understanding of people or any connection really to the country at all. But really what you see underneath all of that is contempt for the people who live here. You have no right to live in the town where you were born just because your parents are buried there. Your ancestors built the town. Who do you think you are? Imagine feeling that way about someone in your own country. Imagine having that level of contempt for a fellow American. You don't even know anything about the person. It's young people. They're not entitled to live where they want. They'll live where BlackRock tells them they can live. It's like, whoa. If you had a thought like that, I've had some ugly thoughts. I just admitted having some ugly thoughts. Boy, I would try and push it back and not express it. Ben says it without any embarrassment because he means it. That's exactly right, because he means it. Whew. I don't think that you can win a popular debate with that attitude, because irrespective of the content of your sentence, people can feel the loathing that the speaker has for them. Ben Shapiro just does not care about you at all, is not even pretending to care about you. So again, it really doesn't matter what he's selling.
That is a great statement. And I'm glad to see Tucker say, because he used to be tight with Ben Shapiro. I remember they did like, not a debate, but they interviewed each other on Ben Shapiro's show. And you could see the rupture there because Tucker was saying automating trucking is clearly an evil act that's going to lead to mass unemployment. And this is a total break, dude. Like you never want to put anything past this class of people. But I don't see Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson making up after this. Saying that Ben Shapiro doesn't care about you, which I have known, which you have known. Ben Shapiro does not give a shit about you. Ben Shapiro read ads for fucking grift companies at the March for Life. If you care about abortion, you can't. This is wild. This is wild to say. I'm not surprised because Tucker wrote a book called Ship of Fools in 2016, I think, and I actually read it. I usually avoid that kind of book, and it's very similar to what he's saying now. He just was not calling these people out by name. Ben Shapiro's stock is going down. I mean, that's the only conclusion I can draw here. Because this movement is more popular than his. And I wonder what I'm not saying anything that's
cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Okay, I'm not trying to say, is this like where Ben Shapiro or something will be like, I'm moving, I have to leave this country. I feel hurt, I feel pain, I feel scared. Because this is rhetoric that if you had said this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you would have been ostracized. You would have got the Milo Yiannopoulos treatment, the Gavin McInnes treatment, the Mark Lamont Hill treatment. You're not supposed to say this stuff, and he's saying it. Let's continue, dude. This is freaking wild.
That guy is not going to make the sale if people are free to buy whatever they want. It's like, I don't know what that guy's selling, but he doesn't like me. I can feel it right away. He doesn't care at all about me at all. And he thinks so little of me, he's not even going to put on the dog. He's not even going to try to pretend to care about me. And a guy like that, whew, he really needs censorship and bullying to succeed, because the free market does not reward a man like that at all, ever, because people don't like it. Why would they like it? Here's another clip that makes basically the same point that is in some ways even more disgusting, maybe less well known. Here's Ben Shapiro telling you that if you ever want to retire, stop working to pay off your 50 freaking year mortgage. You own the house, really, for 50 years. Okay, no, I'm renting it. I'll be 90 by the time I pay it off, which of course I won't because I got all kinds of other loans too. So if you complain about that, if you had these dreams of working really hard and retiring, how dare you? How dare you? Here's Ben Shapiro.
No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, I gotta say, like I don't know if I can say this and I'm gonna get accused of a remark, okay? I don't want to say anything.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
But my understanding, as a fruit-picking mechanic spick over here, I'm just a simple spick, is that the WASP started this country. America was founded by the WASP, okay? Blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys in Boston that just wanted to throw down with the British. All right. If I sit here and I start telling you how to live in America, and I was born here, and I love this country, I love this. If I'm here and I'm start telling you, with my dark hair, my dark eyes, I start telling you, you should not be able to retire. You're a stupid American who thinks that retirement is stupid. You would rightfully go, hey, wetback, get out of this country. Ben Shapiro, I think he's like a third generation American. That's fine. But is there not some sort of, what would you call it? Not reverence, but some sort of distance, where I understand that I'm not a full-on American like someone with the last name Washington or Adams or something like that, right? I haven't been here long enough. Ben Shapiro, when did his family get here? Like 100 years ago? When do you get to dictate how someone else should live when you're not part of that core group? I'm not saying that WASPs should be in charge. I'm just saying, look, I'll give you an example. In Miami's run by Cubans. I'm here and I start telling them what to do as someone who's not Cuban. Obviously, I'm going to get pushback. Why would I say that? They'd say, hey, go back to your shithole country. Go back to Chile or Venezuela. We run this place. I don't know if I'm being too ethnicist or something, but I have some reverence for the people that established it, So I don't know. I hope that that's expressed in a way that's not perceived as anti, like a bad mark. But dude, like Ben Shapiro, when I look at Ben Shapiro, the classic American is what? It's John Wayne. If John Wayne tells you not to retire, okay, doesn't he have more of a chance to say that? Or even like, dude, the black people were here earlier. Black people were here. If fucking Van Jones comes and tells me, hey, I'm the descendants of slaves, I've been here for a long time, I'm an African American, I'm going to tell you how to live. Okay, you were here first. I get it. I have some reverence for that. But Ben Shapiro, dude, like when I picture an American, I don't picture Ben Shapiro. I don't picture myself. All right, I hope that's not too controversial to say.
You talk. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Now, the conventional response to this, I've heard people say it, is, well, Ben Shapiro can say that because he's a podcaster. He's not climbing ladders for a living. And if you climb ladders for a living, or do any kind of physical labor, even light physical labor, your body breaks down. It's just a fact. And if you're around people who've done it, by the time they get to 50, they're limping and they're in pain. That's why they're, you go to these little towns around the country and most businesses are gone. There are no furniture stores or no toy stores. Like, they're all gone. They're all at Walmart. They're a husk. But what you do find next to the drug rehab places are chiropractors. There are a lot of chiropractors throughout the country. It's because poorer people, working class people, blue collar people are aching. They have trouble walking. Their backs hurt. So retirement for a man who climbs ladders is a little bit different from a man who hosts a podcast. But that's not even the point that I would make. That's true, of course. He's pure contempt for people who work with their bodies, and he should be judged for that. But I think it's deeper than that. It's like, how dare you tell me when I should retire? Who are you exactly? Who gave you the moral authority to judge when I retire? That's insane. You're like a child who's got some deal with Facebook or whatever, whoever you are. You are not God. You have no right to talk to me like that. But you do because you have no respect for me. You have no love for me at all. And it does kind of point to the core problem, not with Ben Shapiro, who will not be a factor in America in 5 years. I can promise you that. Or Mark Levin. Let's hope he gets better. No, it points to the problem with their leaders. They don't like the people they lead. That's it right there. They have no love for the people they lead. And all leadership is based on the patriarchal model. The father is a good father because he loves his children. He may make mistakes, but ultimately he comes back to true north because he loves them. That's what keeps him honest, his sincere love for his children. That is the model for all leadership. That's the model for leadership in the military, in a company. That's the model for rhetorical leadership. You want people to follow you? You want to sell your ideas to them? You want to convince them that what you're saying is true? Show some love for them. Demonstrate that you love them, you care about them. Why are we doing this? Because we think it's better for you. Shapiro and all of these guys, they don't make an effort to do that because they don't feel that way at all. Shut up, cattle. You're a Nazi. Give us the money.
All right. He said cattle, which is obviously a translation for the Hebrew word goyim, which is used to refer to people who are Gentiles. And dude, I am fascinated with this, man. This total break from Ben Shapiro is something to behold. This is mask off shit. This is mask off. I don't know what he's working in the background. I don't know if he's going to split this movement. But it looks like it's trending in that direction. It looks like President Trump is going to get thrown out of the party for being buddies with Ben Shapiro and these types. Because essentially what Tucker Carlson is saying without saying is that Ben Shapiro loves Israel more than he loves America. And I thought that was a canard. I thought you couldn't say that. Dude, if they start coming after dual citizenship, I may know some people who are fucked, but like this is something, man. I'm impressed. Tucker Carlson. I've never liked Tucker Carlson. Well, I've liked him, but I feel like he was just trying to drive the country nuts. But at this point, it seems like he's actually trying to get serious and do a real political movement. I thought the Fuentes thing was just an op to co-opt him into the J.D. Vance wing of the party. But it seems like they want to quite literally throw out the money changers, throw out payday loans, throw out Ben Shapiro, people who endorse that kind of behavior. And that's something that I haven't seen a conservative ever do since Pat Buchanan and Ron Paul, as I Hate Everything is mentioning. Fellas, that's our time. We have the bracelets available. We sold 2, though, already. What would Piers Morgan do? What would a postmodernist do? Parody bracelet. 1 for 10, 2 for 15. I made a post on YouTube. You can reach out through email, or you can actually just PayPal the amount and send your shipping address, and I'll get them over to you. Audio Vibes purchase 2 for 15. Email me if anything. If it's too much, it's fine, guys. We'll figure something out. This is a crazy thing to watch. If you're here new, like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Subscribing takes half a second. Share the channel. It helps us keep making more content like this. Let's catch up with the chats. Let's see what we can read. I Hate Everything says Ron Paul was talking about this in 08 and 12. But from what I remember, I Hate Everything, Ron Paul was not this forceful, right? Like he was trying to be a big tent, like bring people in. Versus this is clearly designating someone as an enemy and saying you need to go. And that's kind of a real change, a real shift in how things are set. Effer says, not necessarily the powerful have forgotten that people in the collective hold the real power. While I wouldn't agree with you in the past, Effer, I do think we're at a point where if the apathy that has been engendered in the political system is removed by people like Tucker Carlson, and voting does actually matter, these people can get fucked, man. They actually can get in trouble. So, I says, I think it's really going to show during the Republican primary in 2028. That's going to be interesting to watch. It's already showing here in Florida, dude. We have this guy, something Fishback, who's taking on Byron Donalds, who should be the next governor. by legacy because he's crowned by Ron DeSantis. He's a former drug dealer allegedly, but he's a MAGA-tard idiot. And it's happening here. I don't think Fishback's going to win, but Mystery Lou says GDP increases when something gets stolen. You have to replace a stolen item, right? It's Paul Krugman economics. GDP is total bullshit. It's a bullshit measurement. I know everything says Tucker is Eric Cartman and Ben is Kyle. Oh man, this is some great stuff, dude. I'm sorry we can't read all the chats, guys, but you guys get some great stuff. Efra says, I think many rich and powerful people will start to escape to Saudi Arabia or Gulf countries. I think so too. I've seen a lot of the tech people start to mention that they need an exit plan, and good luck with that. Good luck with that because they're in power now. But dude, the American government is everywhere. I hope some of these people go to prison for what they've done, but I don't think it's likely. It's going to be a mystery, but not really. It's obvious why. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Elu says, I'm on the left, but Tucker Carlson would win a race against AOC. I think he would. I think AOC has proven to be kind of a sellout, right? I think Tucker Carlson would. Dude, what is there not to like for a Zoran voter? Maybe there's a little bit of the ethnic pride that he has, but people can look past that, I think. Because he's speaking to real shit. He's like Curtis Sliwa, but on a national level. Love Christian Bale, says Street Cat Munchies. Christian Bale's a great actor. I Everything says, I'm glad that Ron Paul and Thomas Massie wing of the party is finally getting traction. I did not expect it. You've been saying this for a while, I Hate Everything. I admire that you were ahead on this, man, because I did not expect it. Because my idea of libertarians is that they're usually weak, but their message is actually getting out there, and this is what Ron Paul wanted, I think. YC says, how can Shapiro sit there and say this with a straight face? Because he's a psychopath, dude. I think he's an autistic psychopath. Because there's one thing about being autistic where you have to say things that are true, and a psychopath is not recognizing emotion and stuff. Dude, he's saying this stuff a month after his friend got shot on camera. He did not mourn him for a second. This is a psychopathic autist. He cannot show empathy. He cannot do it. He's a psychopath. He's a psychopath. He's a psychopath. That's the only way I see it. And we see here about sleeping with cowboys. Interesting. Brokeback Mountain fans in chat. Efra says, too much stick and no care will destroy the illusion. It's not a sustainable system. The rich have gotten too comfortable treating the population like cattle. I don't use the word cattle much because, they say it's anti-Semitic to say, but at this point, if everyone else is saying it, dude, yeah, they're treating people like cattle. They're treating people like cattle. And people at the end of the day, man, I have very little faith in Americans after COVID, but if they get up and they actually let their nuts hang, we could see a change. Yeah, and I Hate Everything says Ron Paul was like Bernie, too soft. I agree, completely agree. Mr. Elu says Zoran's acceptance speech was forceful. Completely agree. That's the type of guy that when you go into that rhetoric, which is what Tucker is doing here, it's the same kind of rhetoric. It's pretty. You should be scared, man. When they are taking names, you should be scared. Horatius, how you doing? Libertarians are smug, stupid effing pricks who are traitors as well. Ron Paul was a paleoconservative, not a libertarian. Zoran elected by foreign invaders who are here for American money and to conquer them. All right, well, that's a perspective. Ron Paul identified as a libertarian, and he still does today, so I don't see how a self-identified libertarian can be not called a libertarian, but you're free to believe that, Horatius. I'm not a fan of libertarianism myself, so it's interesting to see. With that, everyone, like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing takes half a second. It's free, and it helps us make cool content like this. Think about picking up one of the bracelets. As I mentioned, what would a postmodernist do? What would Piers Morgan do? There's only 100. Well, now there's 98 or 96 because I'm keeping 2 because Audio Vibes placed a purchase. The post is online. Oh, and please join the Discord, man. Let's get people on there. This is the Patreon. Let's shill the Patreon here for a second. Here's our Patreon, and our Discord is over here. Guys, I didn't put it here, but I will post again the actual invite link. Let me see. Can I do that right now? Let me see. I bet I could do that right now. Let me see here. Can I add friends or something like that? I have never used Discord before. You see here. Where can I do this? Invite to channel. Let me do this. Set this link to never expire. Here we go. Everyone, if you could join the Discord, man, because you guys help me crowdsource stories and clear my thinking. Here's the link. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Ephra. No, I know Ephra, but that's the thing is we're all walking on eggshells about this stuff, right? We can't say it anymore. So, I thought we couldn't say stuff or we would be called an anti-Semite, or a racist or something. But it seems like we're past that. I completely understand what you were saying. I'm not taking it a bad way. Thank you, Robert, for the big super chat. Thank you, Schofield, for the super chat yesterday. Thank you, Street Cat Munchies. I hate everything as usual. Mr. Elu, YC. Guys, join the Discord. Let's crowdsource stories. Let's suggest stuff. Pick up a bracelet. Come on, man. Help the channel grow. Share the channel. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message.